Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends and get your gaming goodness every Saturday at 6 a.m. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here to definitely not talk about Shield, the sword dog with the sword mouth. Definitely not this week.
But actually, this works in rule. I want to bring up a hot point in a second. Also joining us, Cherie.
Hello there.
There you go.
So yeah, mix it up this week.
So Kieran's on a family holiday down Tasmania. People would have seen this by him posting pictures of Tasmanian devils and being like, "Oh, look at this thing." Anyway, I saw him the other day, and you just reminded me. When I was walking through JB Hi-Fi and walked through past a poster for Pokemon Sword and Shield, he goes, "Have you heard fucking Ashley complaining about this fucking sword in her dog's mouth?" And I was like, "Yeah, I literally tell him off for it all the time." He's like, "Oh, the fucking hell's it dropped the sword?" And then, yeah, we spent about 5 minutes saying how much of an idiot you are because of the fucking complaints about how this stupid dog can't drop the sword to eat food.
I mean, I'm right.
You're horribly wrong. And when the game comes out and we see the dog drop its sword to eat food and whatever else, you'll be proven to be wrong.
I'm pretty sure it's just got another mouth somewhere else.
Yeah.
Another mouth somewhere else.
You do too, you fucking alien. Where do you eat from, you asshole? Today on the show, Cuphead is getting a TV show. Sean Murray talks media and some more Pokemon details. Yes, Pokemon on the show as well. And my impressions for Super Mario Maker 2. But first, a little bit more happened. Now, this is quite funny because last week talked about G2A Mess. It wasn't really a mess at the time. It was just more of a, hey, here's a thing, and it was an interesting developer of Descenders talking about it, and then G2A proceeded to turn it into a mess, pretty horribly. So
I don't think they tried to turn it into a mess. I think it just became a mess.
It's become a mess because the developer started a change.org or whatever to get G2A to stop selling indie games, and that was getting passed around a lot and signed by a fair few people. Then a bunch of popular Twitch streamers started dropping G2A as their sponsors, including let's see, I've got this GameIndustry.biz article open. It says influencers like Lurk and Mr. Matty Plays, I've only heard of one of those people, but dropped G2A as a sponsor after this whole thing. Riot Games have banned G2A from sponsoring League of Legends players because the platform had been selling League of Legends accounts and services designed to boost player ratings. That happened in the past. So there was just a lot more stuff I didn't even know about that was happening in the behind the scenes. Anyway, G2A's publicity went to shit. So they thought the best thing that we can do, or some people at least at G2A, that the best thing they could do is send around a really bad email. So GamesIndustry.biz article says, earlier today, Indie Games Plus writer Thomas Faust published email excerpts on Twitter that showed a representative of the key reselling platform looking to pay for a pro G2A sponsored article on the site with the condition that it could not be marketed as sponsored or marked as associated with G2A. So they were asking this platform and apparently other platforms and websites, not us. That would have been hilarious. Well, I would have been honored, you know. Would have been honored to get that sort of email and be part of the story. Would have been absolutely fucking honored. They were sending around emails asking for people to write positive spins on stories about G2A, except for not disclose the fact that the article
was getting paid by G2A. Yeah,
well, paid, and also the article would have been written, or at least like 90% written by G2A themselves, because they said they got an article ready. The email said G2A is, quote, trying to improve our brand awareness and public image. Yeah, who'd have thought? Among indie developers, and hope to remedy that with a, quote, unbiased article. Don't think it's unbiased if it's about yourselves. About how selling stolen keys on gaming marketplaces is pretty much impossible. It went on to ask for pricing details if Indie Game Plus was interested in publishing the article. The official G2A Twitter account responded to Faust's tweets with a statement of its own saying, quote, these emails were sent by an employee without authorization, for which we apologize to Faust and the 9 other media outlets he sent this proposal to. He will face strict consequences, and this is absolutely unacceptable. So, pretty funny.
Pretty funny, yeah. I mean, it's just unlucky that none of those all those people they sent it to are upstanding people. Like, I'm sure there are some people who would have agreed to do that.
Well, that's pin on that exactly what you just said is they sent it to 10 people. As far as we saw, only one of them, this person, actually bothered to like tweet out and be like, hey, so were the 9 others implicit? I'm not going to say they were because I don't even know who they were, but
I'm sure if there were some that did do it, we would know about it. Like the articles would be up. I think probably they just went in the trash. That's probably what happened.
How bad would it look for them?
Yeah.
It would look even worse if they had already published an article already.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
If they'd already done it. I can't think of something worse for a website other than getting caught out for this sort of thing, honestly. But at the same time, I would say that I can't think of anything worse than a company getting caught out for... I mean, this is the same sort of shit that Gamergate was basically started around, fucking ethics in video game and all this sort of shit. But every time something actually comes up like this that is legit about ethics in games journalism, if you want to spin it on that or whatever, ethics in games, I don't know, industry full stop, I guess. Where the fuck are all those fuckheads? No, they're over yelling about Ariel being not white, you know?
Too busy buying bathwater.
Yeah, too busy buying bathwater, which also, side note on that story, did you see someone's trying to sue that girl because apparently it didn't have her DNA in it?
Yeah. No, I think somebody said the potential was there too, but then a bunch of other people in that thread were debating molecular science and whether you could actually trace human DNA from a bath. Very fascinating.
It is legit fascinating. If we want to quickly go over this in case we're leaving people in the dust, although I feel like most people would know this story because it was pretty popular during the week. An Instagram, what do they call them? Is it
influencer?
If I say I don't know, like
yes, an influencer. That's what they do call them.
Yeah, sure. She posted this thing and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna sell gamer boys, but do you want to buy my bathwater for like $30 a bottle?" And it was pretty funny. I found it pretty funny because I was like,
"Who's going to do that?"
I mean, people are going to do it. I mean,
plenty of creepy people.
I mean, it's creepy, but at the same time, I was like, make your money, I suppose. Like, you know, like it's not
it's creative.
It's not the worst.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah, I was like, sure. I mean, I thought it was funny, but then the follow up story was today or yesterday. So apparently, someone tested the bathwater after buying it, found out that her DNA wasn't actually in it, which would, if proven, they could actually have a legal case against her for not selling a
fraudulent
or false product, which would all the way come back and be fucking even funnier. Like, she tries to own the gamers, and then the gamers come back and they sue her, and then all this sort of thing. I'm on no one's side. I'm on the fucking
observer side.
Let's get some popcorn.
Yeah, I'm on the popcorn. This is fucking hilarious to watch wherever it goes because, you know. So that's that story.
2019.
Yeah, 2019. There we have the thing. Any other thoughts on this whole G2A thing? Because, I mean, to me, it's just like, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny that anyone would think this is like a good idea to the workplace.
You would hope it's like a new intern or something. But
no fucking intern's got the official GTA. No way they can just send around an email like this. For sure, can they?
Maybe, I don't know. How many people do you think are working in G2A? G2A?
Power Rangers.
It's such an effort to say the fucking name. Just restart the company with a new name and no one will know. It fixes your reputation and your shit name.
Cancel the company. The other interesting tidbit is after all that stuff was happening last week, I can't remember her name. I'd have to scroll through Twitter, which I'm obviously not going to do that because it might take me a minute. But there's a lady who does a lot of She handles code for a lot of companies, most to do with US. I think she does like Devolver US, like PR and these sorts of things. Anyway, I follow her on Twitter, and she's quite good to follow because she often posts screenshots of emails she'll get from people being like man babies, basically being like, why wouldn't you give me code for game? I'll stream it. You'll get so many views, like, you know, this sort of stuff. But she said, like, in response to the G2A thing, that she, although it can't do it for everyone because it's too much time and effort, but if she like checks on someone like a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber or someone that's requesting a code for a game, and she sees they're sponsored by G2A, she will refuse to give them the code based solely on that. So that's if you want to be like, how bad is brand association sometimes? Yeah, pretty bad sometimes.
I mean, they've got to be pretty stupid.
Well, a lot of people just aren't aware of what they do. And we can say that safely because until last week, I was the only one out of three of us who fucking was aware of the kind of dodgy behavior of them. So, you know, everyone will forget about this next week unless they do something else horrible, and then we'll be talking about it again in 6 months to a year when someone else brings it up. I guess it's ever continuing. It's welcome.
At least
the
their
fantastic world.
flow of influence has been slowed.
Yeah, and then new people come in and they rotate in and rotate out.
But I mean, if like Riot's not going to let them sponsor anybody anymore, that's a good step and that sort of thing. And if certain big streamers choose to not be associated with them anymore, that helps.
Did you watch the I forgot to ask you for doing this. Did you watch the Danny O'Dwyer E3 one yet?
I am halfway through it.
Okay, because there was quite a funny point in it that I was glad left out. I mean, there's lots of interesting bits in that whole.
Again, for reference, there's a new documentary on NoClip YouTube channel focused on E3 from the.
Yeah, it's not got the most memorable name.
A documentary.
It's something like I think it's just called like Behind the Scenes of E3. Something. It's not like the super standout name or anything. But yeah, NoClip's latest documentary. There was one part in it that I found quite funny because he goes and visits the Twitch, I guess, like home center where they were like doing a bunch of streaming or whatever else there, and saying like, oh, there's people here streaming everywhere, and the girl who's like showing him around, who's like the running the thing, and I think Danny used to work with her or something along the lines. Like she's like, yeah, we don't invite Twitch streamers down here, and we make them stream. And then Danny's like says like a hot off the cuff, yeah, just don't stream in public bathrooms, hey. And then she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, oh god. I like how they left that in. That fuckwit's back streaming this week, by the way, if you know who we're talking about. Moving on. Cuphead is getting a Netflix show. That's whole news. No, there was more.
Cool.
So, yeah, Netflix it says, I got this article up here, Hollywood Reporter. Netflix to adapt Cuphead into animated comedy series. It says, Netflix and King Features Syndicate are part of Hearst Entertainment and Syndication, bringing the massively popular indie platforming game Cuphead to the streaming platform with a new animated series called The Cuphead Show. Cuphead, developed and published by indie game Studio MDHR, launched in 2017 to mass critical acclaim. The game features hand-drawn animations inspired by the classic Leischer. I don't actually know how you say the name. Is it Leischer? Leischer? Yeah. Leischer cartoons from 1930s, and also offers up a hefty challenge for players, and boy does it. The game has sold over 4 million copies and won the Best Independent Game Award at 2017 Game Awards and a BAFTA Games Award for the music. The new animated comedy will expand upon the characters and world of the game, which centers on the titular hero Cuphead and his brother Mugman, who make a deal with the devil in a high-stakes gambling match. CJ Kettler, Carmen Sandiego will executive produce for King Features, while Cuphead creators and brothers Chad and Jared Molder, I can't say your name, will serve as executive producers for Studio MDHR. The series will be produced by Netflix Animation, blah, 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 blah. And that's about all the information we have for it, other than you presume it'll look like the Cuphead, like 1930s inspired style, and whatever else. Now, when I read the news story, I was like, yeah, cool, I don't really care, to be honest. I was like, I'm not going to run it at home to watch a fucking series about Cuphead, you know? The story in the game is it's not interesting. It's just set up for why these characters are doing what they're doing, why you get stuck on all these boss battles and whatever else. It's not exactly great. Neither Cuphead or
boss battles.
Yeah, neither Cuphead or Mugman have super interesting things. But I did want to bring up an interesting point for this, which I'd never read at all, and I saw this article circulating. A bunch of people I follow on Twitter were retweeting this after and like saying, quote, retweeting it, saying it's a good time to reshare this article with the announcement of the Netflix series. And I completely missed when this was published because it was originally published November 10th, 2017 when the game came out. It says Cuphead and the racist spectre of the Leischer animation. And it's long. I'm not going to obviously read the whole thing here, but it'll be linked in the show notes below. But basically it brings up from the author's point of view, and an interesting point of view that I hadn't considered at all as someone who's played the game across Xbox and Switch before, that they find they've taken the 1930s animation style that at the time when it was put out was deeply embedded with racism and racial stereotypes and what have you. And then Cuphead takes the animation style, removes the racial stereotypes and that sort of stuff. It removes it from the animation style and just leaves over what's left, which is the animation style, what everyone knows. And the author's point of view in the article was that although they try to play the game and they say it's beautiful and it's fun and whatever else and can appreciate what it's for, they're saying as a black person that they can't help but look at the style because it is still the same style. It's just missing the overt racism stuff. That it turns them off from playing it. And I saw the author retweeted their own article on Twitter and was saying they would have similar feelings about the Netflix show because it's going to it's like, here's a thing, let's just pretend that this wasn't deeply associated with racism for a group of people. So what are your thoughts on that, Ashley? Find it, or you can start the Netflix show in general. Like, would you watch a Cuphead Netflix show? However you want to.
Yeah, I'd watch. I guess it just depends on the actual storyline. What are they going to do for storylines? Are they just going to adapt the video game? With regards to the racism stuff, I guess it's all from personal perspective. Obviously, there's nothing I'm sure there's no intent from the people who are making the games now. They just like the look of that, and it fits with makes their game and content stand out and possibly brings a bit more positivity to that type of animation now. But obviously, I don't think there was any intent from them to. And I hate to think a whole art style is defined as being racist because it happened to be used in an area where racism was rife.
No, the artist of the game in the article brings up how they talked about once and said they removed this and this and this and like the overt racial stereotypes that would be used in the characters.
Yeah.
How do you say the word?
Well, it helps that all the characters are like anthropomorphized or whatever. Like, there's no actual people in the game. It's just
but there's like, what's that cow or whatever, the famous like Disney real racist. I think it was a cow or something like that. That was I don't actually remember, but there's a famous one. Oh, I mean, let's be honest. Most 1930s Disney stuff had a lot of racist shit in it.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't racist at the time. It was because it was just social norms.
I guess people have. I saw people bring up in the comments to this, which I found interesting, is the Tom and Jerry cartoons that when Warner Brothers. I don't know what this was from, but they said like when Warner Brothers reshown some of the old ones or put them in a DVD release or something, they didn't attempt to fix or change any of the stuff that would be offensive. They just simply put a warning up at the start of every episode that read like something like, this is from a time, it was wrong then, it is wrong now, but it also represents something and we think it's important to leave it the way it is. And the article about Cuphead is not saying that, from what I took from it reading it, I guess that they're not saying that they don't really have any, they're not saying you can't make Cuphead, you can't use the art style, you can't do this. They're simply voicing their point of view about how it makes them feel. Yeah, so just to make that clear before you're like, why is someone trying to get Cuphead shut down? They're not, and I'm not saying that Cuphead should be banned either. I just think it's an interesting point of view that I'd never seen until today, and I was like, that's quite interesting. But they were saying, like, in the comments on Twitter, I saw when someone's asking, like, what would you do? And they were saying they might actually appreciate if it took on more of, like, ownership or, like, included some hint of that stuff without, like, actually making a racist thing, but at least, like, including it some way, you know, so it felt more realistic. Because their thing is they're saying it's ignoring what a big part of it was, and they're like, we'll just remove the bad stuff and we'll just leave the cartoon, and it makes them feel weird about it. Whereas, like, the Tom and Jerry example is that they're like, we're not changing anything and we're saying it's wrong and we know it's wrong, blah, 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 blah. Anyway.
I don't know. I think if they did that, they'd get more flack.
Yeah, I was going to say, people are going to have complaints regardless, but I mean, I am interested to see where, like, I'm surprised they went with a TV show and not a movie.
Well, they can just do a bunch of animated shorts, I guess, is what
I would presume. Yeah, like 15 minutes or
there's
20
like no
minutes
length is listed or anything, though. I don't think.
But it's like you said, Ash, you know, are they going to make it? It's just, you'd assume it's just a completely different story, and in which case, it's like, how, you know, what was the driver to be like, yeah, let's do a Netflix show? Like, I'd like to know whether Netflix approached them, whether they approached Netflix, whether it was just something that they'd actually wanted to do. Is it something that just came across their path? Like, it just seems like such a random thing.
I reckon it just came across one day somewhere. Someone mentioned
someone had an idea.
Someone passed a card. Yeah, someone did something. I mean, the game's most famous for its art style, I'd say. Even after release, it's kind of known for its difficulty now. But like, it was in production for so long that for years and years and years until release, everyone, unless you was at E3 playing it or something like that, you would like, Cuphead is this art style. That's what's known for. It's known because I remember the first time I ever saw a video of it, I was like, holy shit, they made something that looked like fucking Steamboat Mickey or whatever. You know, that's
Steamboat
what my
Willie.
automatic
Willie.
Steamboat Willie. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, they've made something look like Steamboat Willie. That was my automatic response. So always been associated to that style. I mean, technically, it's another video game. Well, not even technically, it's another video game series that Netflix is adapting those, so they're definitely going harder into. So what do we got? We got the Capcom stuff now. We got Castlevania plus Devil May Cry happening, and I think that's all they've announced so far. But that's all supposed to be one connected universe or something. I think is what they're building towards with that stuff. And then you're going to have Cuphead.
That's what I mean. It's so random.
It is. Okay, moving on. So you got Sean Murray talking in an interview this past week, ups and downs about the original No Man's Skies launch, with Edge editor Nathan Brown, although the article I'm reading from for this is from Game Industry Biz as well. Quite a lengthy write-up if you want to read the whole thing, and talks about several things here, but I'm just focusing on one particular aspect of it that I thought was quite interesting, because his take on media and how it works, I guess, falls in line with a point I quite often like to make, which I'll get back to in a second. He gets asked about why he doesn't really talk to the press anymore, and he says, quote, "Not talking to the press is easy because I don't really enjoy it." Which, of course, most people will find somewhat funny, because if you remember years ago when No Man's Sky was releasing, Sean Murray was fucking everywhere. He was even on, like, Jimmy Fallon or whatever.
Just because you're everywhere doesn't mean you enjoy it.
No, but, no, for sure.
And he was on Colbert.
Colbert, okay. Look, yeah, for sure. But I'm not saying he enjoyed it, but it's still quite funny, because you think back up to that No Man's Sky launch, and it was just like, he was everywhere, and he was very confident. He seemed confident. He looked confident. He, you know, everything. He didn't seem shy or anything like that, I guess. Continuing, it's not a thing I got into games to do, and I don't think I'm particularly good at it. So I'd say you were, though. So it was kind of an easy answer there. I'm not sure.
Was he, though, if so many people got angry in hindsight?
No, because he was good at I'd say he was really good at the interviews.
Except telling the truth bit. No. No.
I don't think he lied. That's the thing, though.
I'm just
like,
teasing.
I don't think he lied. and everyone's like, Sean Murray lied and all this sort of stuff. I 100% believe that all the stuff he was saying was because it may have been things they were kicking around ideas at the time. And this is what this interview is mainly about, is like the game development process and how there's a disconnect between developers, press, and then players, I guess. Like people at home reading about stuff.
Every second week we're discussing something along these lines. Someone bringing out a game that was a disappointment and admitting their mistakes and whatever else. It's like every second week at the moment.
All games are disappointments. That's the key to life.
No, they're not. Gamers are shit.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. There's like the whole start of this thing is like him saying, it points out there's a disconnect, and I would agree with that somewhat, because and he was saying like everyone's like, oh, he lied, but I'm like, at the time when he was doing the interviews in the development process, they may have been working on features that he thought was going to make it to release, and then 6 months later they have to can the feature to do something else because it's not working, and all of a sudden he's a liar, because game development, people look at it under the same lens as like film or television or something, where it's like, well, we're shooting with this character in this thing or whatever, but it's more a constantly changing
evolving
thing, like and I feel like you get a better understanding of that even if you watch something that was recently released, like the PlayStation God of War thing, and you can see like how close they cut it with a lot of things and features, and talking about how they may have to cut things and features and whatever else. At one point Kratos wasn't even going to be in that fucking game, so like or it was going to be in a completely different setting, so stuff changes constantly on in game development. So back to it. I think the reason, I've never sure whether it was the right thing or it was just really appealed. I think the reason for not talking to press was a bunch of the press, when I was growing up, was kind of the hub of the community. What they wrote, I would read, and as a kid, I would think those things. I would just be led by what the journalists had to say, and that would play a huge part in my ability to critique games and think about how games were made. It says, Indeed, Murray partly attributed his career to in games to magazines like Edge, where he first became aware of various disciples involved in development, and the concept of a career in the industry first started to take shape. The role of games press plays now, though, is much different. Murray said, quote, that would lead my thought process and tell me how to feel about development and how to feel about games. I don't think that happens as much now. I think that the problem with what we see on the front pages being led by what we click on means that naturally you tend to read what the most people clicked, which means the press is naturally downstream from the community. Murray noted that there were positive stories about No Man's Sky even right after launch, but they didn't do as well, and that's the problem. It prompted Hello Games to look past the press as a way to address its issues and focus on the real purity of speaking to its players through the game. So the main thing that I found interesting here, and is a good point, and I like whenever people bring this up, is that I 100% believe in the day and age we live now with games media, and clickbait YouTube titles, clickbait YouTube thumbnails, all the most well, not all, that's me being a bit hyperbolic, but the majority of popular gaming YouTubers and such, all they talk about is negative shit. They barely ever make videos where this thing is good. It's always like yelling about stuff they hate. One of the most popular, like, well, I wouldn't say pop, but someone who's got like several 100,000 followers on YouTube, called The Quartering, is one of my most disliked people, I think, on the whole platform at the moment, without being just by his content alone. All his videos are just it's all just negative, and it gets numbers. And like to Murray's point, which is what I find interesting, is like people were writing positive stuff about No Man's Skies upon release. I remember seeing some stuff, but that's because I actually spend a lot of time scrolling past just what's on the front page, I guess, I deep dive it, but even like the last year since what the fuck was the name of the update? Whatever their big update thing that came out.
Beyond?
Yes,
like
Beyond.
Yeah.
I think that was it, yeah. When that came out, there were heaps of positive stories, like people saying about how great the game was. Did it ever pick up the traction that the original stories upon No Man's Sky released, where they were all negative, This game's trash. All these YouTube videos. This game's trash. Sean Murray lied to us. Sean Murray did this. Sean Murray's a fraud. All those ones were the most numbers, clicks.
Yeah.
The second it's like the second the narrative becomes Sean Murray and team swing game around and it's good now, is it as interesting to people? No. So just as a topic alone, do you feel the same way? I guess that I do. That most people are only more interested in negative stories. Ash?
Well, I feel to a certain extent it's easier. It's easier to nitpick.
In what way?
I mean, like anything. You look at most of our review discussions, a lot of them start off with us. Even if we really like something, we'll point out all the stuff that we had issues with first. I feel like it's just a natural thing. But I think as soon as once there's a general mindset of what opinion on something, a lot of people just even like half-heartedly sort of put out stuff that pile on. Yeah. If they want to, fit in and that sort of thing, I think.
Mm-hmm. Cherie?
I mean, this is a big lesson in life in general. A lot of people, not even related to games, will say mean things before they'll say something nice about someone. And this is just the same case, where in social media and everything else, it's a lot easier to get behind and back things that are negative than to, like, think about it. You put out a tweet and it's, your opinion about maybe something that negative that's happening. People are a lot more prone to doing that than to tweeting out something nice about someone or nice about something. The ratio is always more negative, and this is just one of those things where on social media, that's what primarily covering, unless you're Pokemon and you always get happy thoughts.
That is not true. Everyone
hates
that's
why I'm laughing about it.
Fucking everyone hates Pokemon at the moment. Even Pokemon's in the
hashtag National Dex.
Oh my god, please don't. Yeah, it's like I remember I actually I would say that years and years and years ago, and I mean like 5, 6, I don't know, like years ago, I probably tweeted a lot more negative stuff, and I remember hearing on whatever episode of Game Over Greg's show, whatever it was, where Greg told the story about Greg Miller from Kinda Funny, for anyone who doesn't know. Greg told the story about wanting to tweet something like this episode of How I Met Your Mother or something. I don't even fucking know now, but whatever it was, he like one. Smallville? I don't even remember. But remember. Whatever it was some TV show. He wasn't happy with the episode, and he was like, he opened up his phone and he said he was like, at this person, like this is shit. Like was just wanted to be like, not even like constructive criticism. It was just like this was a trash episode or something. Very just like trash episode, full stop. And then he said like after that he realized what he was going to tweet, and he deleted the tweet, and he made a conscious effort to not tweet blunt shit like that anymore. And I remember hearing the same thing and kind of taking it to heart, because I looked at my own Twitter timeline and I was like, yeah, I tweet a lot of like, and this is the thing. I do think there's a big difference between not all negative stuff is bad if it's actual
feedback
of worth, I guess, or feedback, or however you want to put it. That's the thing. It's like constructive criticism, actual stuff with, just tweeting game is trash, full stop. I don't care what the game is. That's the kind of tweet I'm just going to be like.
That's just a question of like, why would you even bother tweeting it?
Yeah, there's not much.
It's basically just a tweet.
Yeah, I'm like, there's not much substance to me. If you want to treat, you can expand upon it, and all of a sudden it's a little bit better.
You can also treat people.
You can also treat people, yeah. Insert game is trash because blah, 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 blah. Fine. That's now actual, like, criticism, Now you're actually critiquing, you're pointing out why you like it. But it's just the more blunt headline thing, why this is trash, that feeds into. But a lot of Twitter is like that, and that's why, and everyone just, I do actually believe that everyone these days kind of feeds on negativity to a hot point. I don't know, like, and it's even just blunt, bold negativity, and that's and I 100%, like some old man or something, do point my finger a lot at YouTube for it, and content creators or influencers or whatever the fuck you want to call them, and the rise of a lot of people like fucking Angry Joe. Was it Angry Joe? Yeah, Angry Joe. Fucking. I don't even know. I don't watch them. Oh, there's another gamer dude. He's got like long hair. Some middle dude. I don't know. He yells and screams like, all these people just make videos, and most of their news topics and stuff, they're always just covering stuff that they don't like, and then they're spending 20 minutes being like, this fucking thing sucks for this fucking reason, blah, blah, blah. You know, like that's their content. That's what their thing is. And maybe if there was like an outliner of like a couple of them, and there was like an equal amount of similar stuff but on the opposite side that was just as popular, it'd be like, okay, well, we're all on an even playing field. But I feel like the majority of the popular YouTube content creators, or whatever you want to call them, are people that make these sorts of videos, and it does affect the overall way that people consume and want to talk about media over years, and I do think it has affected it negatively. Or I'm just a old man in a young man's body, and I'm just like, YouTube sucks.
Well, a toxic fan base is much easier to make than a positive fan base.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you'll look forward to the next episode of Arcade Couch, where, well, I mean, to be fair, I complain about a lot of stuff on this show, but at the same time, I'm not just like, this is bad. And I feel, obviously, I feel like the topics that I bring up, you know, like Steam or whatever they've talked about a lot. That's more substance to it than. Yeah, it's like more substance to it than they made Ariel white. I'm black. What are we doing?
Well, technically they did both. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. What else are we complaining about these days? They removed Eddie Murphy's dragon from Mulan. I don't know. What are we going?
That's upsetting.
That's upsetting. Yeah, I don't know. What are we? The National Dex. I don't know. What do you want?
If you actually asked most of the people complaining about National Dex, and you said, why are you annoyed about it? They wouldn't have a good, legit reason.
Because they want to catch all. They want to be able to put all the Pokemon in.
Want to catch them? Oh,
you've already done it, mate. Get over it. Move on.
Want to catch them? Oh, I understand to a degree. I mean, I didn't talk about National Dex thing, so I can quickly get my thoughts out on it in a hot 2 seconds, because Ash and Kieran obviously covered it on here.
We spoke about it the other week.
Did I?
Well, we talked about them about after E3. He made a comment, but then they put out an actual press release or something.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we discussed it.
I don't think we did.
Discussing it. I don't remember discussing it. I know Ash and Kieran discussed it on an episode, but
and I said gamers were shit and that they would complain regardless, and then we said if it wasn't released for the next Switch game, then we'd be disappointed. Am I the only one on this show?
Yes,
maybe. You sure you actually recorded that? You were pretty delusional last week.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it was last week. Shh.
It was only on one episode. Yeah, I know. I'm sick of reading about National Dex, to be honest. Get over it.
Sorry, Bryson Drew.
Sorry, Bryson. Yeah. Sorry, House Mario. Bryson Drew. Sorry. I mean, it's the thing, because I like listen to their podcast and I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand. You're afraid it's going to lose post game content, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm happy for it to be rebooted, because as someone who's missed several games, woo!
Just put in a story reason.
Yeah, I read another article.
The freaking sword legendary Pokemon goes around killing all the other Pokemon, and they're all extinct now.
That's dark.
Yeah.
To me,
that's why you got to catch it.
To me, the line was
kill all
drawn
the
out.
Pokemon anymore.
Yes, it would be good if there was older Pokemon carried over, but that's not like a guarantee. And just because everyone got comfortable with it being a thing they were doing for a while doesn't mean it was ever a guarantee.
Doesn't mean they have to do it. They can do whatever the hell they want. Yeah. And they're doing it.
It is interesting, though, considering their big thing, one of their big things during their Pokemon press conference is the home thing where you can store all your Pokemon.
Yeah, but I honestly just feel like they're just going to build it up again. Like, we're kind of just rebooting. And everyone's like, well, that's not good enough. I'm like, well, you know, we're moving on to Switch now. They're doing all these new things. I just feel like it's kind of fresh reboot somewhat. And then
yes, I do remember this conversation.
Yeah, well, just reiterating.
This does
Jesus
start
Christ,
to sound familiar, but no.
Jesus Christ. All right, talking about Pokemon. New Pokemon information has arrived. Firstly, Sword and Shield will not only feature exclusive Pokemon per version as other games usually do, but will now have exclusive gyms. So there's your get excited for some exclusive gyms. And then
you definitely need to play both.
Yeah, I don't know what person. I mean, maybe you look at the gym leaders and you're like, oh, like I can go with the free. I think one's like a freaky ghost type person.
I really hate fire Pokemon.
Yeah, and then you like switch you to buy a gym, but I'm like, whatever. I really don't care. We're getting the sword one because it's a sword versus the weird clunky looking dread shield shit. But game.
You say we, but like we discussed on last week's episode about how we pre-ordered.
Yeah, but we didn't lock that in.
The one with both of the games.
So, who knows what the future holds. GameSpot has a story up because they did all this information came from a trailer they released, of course, randomly as well. So like, let's not do a Pokemon
no fanfare, nothing.
No, nothing. Let's just fucking drop a new trailer with a bunch of information. That sure do what we need to do. GameSpot says the Pokemon company has released a new trailer for the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield games for Switch. The video gives us a glimpse at another handful of Gen 8 Pokemon players will discover in their travel across the Galar region, as well as a couple of new characters they'll encounter and a special type of Dynamaxing known as Gigantamaxing.
Gigantamaxing.
Yeah, that's it.
Jeez.
Whereas standard Dynamaxing increases the Pokemon size, Gigantamaxing also alters their physical appearance.
God,
a Gigantamax
like
Dreadnought, for instance, will stand
Gigantamaxing.
Gigantamaxing. Dreadnought,
stop.
for instance, will stand upright on its hind legs, and armor of a Gigantamaxed Corviknight will separate and fly around like bladed birds. Bladed birds, say that 6 times. While nearly every Pokemon is capable of Dynamaxing, it appears only certain types are able to Dynamax, and according to the Pokemon Company, quote, even among such species, only rare specimens will be able to Dynamax, and then you can capture Dynamax Pokemon in max raid battles. The trailer also introduced 4 new species of Pokemon. First is Alcremie, so let's go one by one here. Let's get votes out of... We'll go 5 stars. So Alcremie is literally a fucking soft serve ice cream. Ash, out of 5 stars?
3.5.
Cherie?
Yeah, 3. I feel like there was cute potential, but they just missed a little bit, made it too fucking weird.
Yeah. Read all the information they sent out.
To me. Like, it kind of looks like this. The straw, the raspberries or whatever on top are kind of like boobies. Like, why did so many Pokemon have to be so inappropriate? There's ones that look like ball sacks and willies, and now we've got these boobies.
That sprays out cream. Yeah, it's weird.
You just got creamed.
Yeah, I'm giving it 1 out of 5.
They specifically said it works with chefs.
Yeah,
chefs like this Pokemon.
Yeah, because it makes some cream.
Makes some cream.
Makes some cream. I'm giving it 1 out of 5 because if I was a Pokemon trainer and I see this thing coming down the road as someone who's lactose intolerant, I'm fucking running. I'm running.
I don't know if you're stuck in the deserted island or something. You might want this Pokemon because you've got.
What are they going to tell me? The male version has lactose. No, hold on. Let's start again to make this even more inappropriate. The male version is lactose free. The female version has lactose.
Oh dear. Isn't it also in that article they mentioned about the transforming into a towering cake?
Yeah. So when she Gigantamaxes, turns into like a giant laid cake.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. Wedding cake. Like a sponge cake. Yeah.
It says Alcremie, a fairy type that resembles whipped cream. It's one of the few Pokemon capable of Gigantamaxing, and when it upgrades the transformation, it resembles a towering cake.
I mean, if they just made a whole gen out of food types, I would be so down for that. Like, when are they going to make a cheese Pokemon?
You say that, but they already made the fucking generation that was
wouldn't the cheese Pokemon just sort of die every time it comes near a fire Pokemon?
No. Or
just melt?
No, because
it depends what sort of cheese it is.
This is like Charmander walks outside in the rain and it's there's all sorts of things.
This covers its tail. Never mind. let's continue.
Next is Yamper, an electric-type puppy Pokemon with new ability called Ball Fetch. If you throw a Pokeball at a Pokemon but fail to capture it, Yamper will fetch the first one you threw, provided it isn't already holding an item. So we already seen Yamper, but this was their official reveal, I guess, of Yamper. Ash, what do you give Yamper?
20 out of 5 stars.
Cherie, what do you give Yamper?
Yeah, like a 5 out of 5. But I mean, it's not going to be we're basing this. Let's be real. We're basing this on cuteness levels because Yamper is not going to be a good Pokemon. Just
you don't know. Well, it could evolve into a good Pokemon.
What is a good Pokemon?
It's not going to be.
What is a good Pokemon? Fucking. What are you going to the World Championships over here?
When you got a Gigantamax
yeah, but I will
thing.
finish. No, everyone, shut the fuck up. I'm going to finish this game with Yamper as one of my main Pokemon and prove to you what's a good Pokemon. And then you can come in with your bullshit. Yeah, but it's not. It wouldn't be very good if it was in real PvP battles, Dylan. I don't give a fuck.
Excuse me, mate. It looks like it has
CP
electricity
value?
coming
I
out
don't
of its
care.
booty, though. Just calm down over there. Calm down. Time out.
Me and Yamper are going to
electricity out of its booty. It's pretty cute.
Is the yellow thing around its neck like a bandana or is it like a tumor?
What? It's a fucking bandana, Ash.
Okay, good. All right,
Jesus
just making sure.
Christ.
5 out of 5 cuteness. Next.
Really? Yeah, I give it 5 out of. I give it 5 out of 5. It's a very good boy. We also go. It says we also go to first look at rock type coal Pokemon called Roly Coly.
Yeah.
Ash, what do you give Roly Coly?
It's a 2 for cuteness, 5 for pun.
Cherie?
I think it looks cool, and definitely 5 out of 5. This name made me giggle. Roly Coly.
I give it a 4 out of 5 because I didn't like the way it looked when I first saw it in the trailer, but then it came up Roly Coly and I did a like a little.
Yeah. See.
Little,
I mean, it's no Wooloo, but
no, they're going for the puns though. And then it says as well as the Steel Dragon type Duraludon. Duralex batteries over here is fucking along for the ride this generation as well. That one gets a fucking 1.
Yep. It looks like a Bic lighter with arms and legs.
Fair.
Was this? I'm just trying to re-jog my memory. Was this the one that was also ice? Was it in snow, or was that the next one?
It literally has just big legs, arms, and then as Ash said, it does. I mean, I'm looking at it now. It does look like a big glider. It has its head that's like going into its shell somewhat, I guess, and then it's got like a red tip at the back of it that does look like the part of a. It's even got like 2 lines behind its head. I mean, it's a big glider. You're right. It's a fucking big glider of a Pokemon. Is what
it's got weird hands.
Yeah, it is a big glider. I'm shooketh, as they say. So yeah, what do you want to give that one, Cherie? Big glider over here.
Well, I'm trying to remember exactly which one you're referring to by your description.
There was only bloody 4 Pokemon in this.
Yeah,
this
well,
trailer.
that's the one that I'm assuming.
Look, you can't remember.
I think
so
that was the one that went into the snow. I only had a really quick look.
Could be. Yeah, it's white, lady. So I assume it's snowy.
Yeah, because it kind of reminded me of Snova.
Sure.
Like when it evolves, so like it's the same sort of thing. It was just kind of big.
I guess.
Big.
And that's
Look, it's all right. 2 out of 5. We'll give it an extra point just for shits and gigs.
And that says finally the trailer introduced a handful of new characters, including 2 new gym leaders. First is B, a fighting type expert exclusive to Pokemon Sword, and the Pokemon Shield players, on the other hand, will be able to battle the creepy Alistair, a ghost type gym leader.
Oh my god, looks so cool.
And then it gives you a look at the chairman of the Galar region as well, whose name is Rose, and or Ross, I guess, I don't know.
No.
And his secretary Elena. Elena.
I don't like him. He looks creepy. He looks like a jerk.
A jerk?
A jerk.
A dirk?
Yeah,
like
that could be fun.
Looks like a Dirk. Yeah, sure.
A jerk.
The thing
it reminded me. I don't know if you've this deep cut. This from the Legend of Korra. The guy.
This is deep cut because I've watched it
with his assistant. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
People who've seen that will know the reference.
I know a lot of people have seen it. No one here's seen it. And then they also revealed the exclusive Pokemon that you'll get. I don't remember all the. I don't know. What Shield gets Larvitar and whatever else, and then Sword gets these other two Pokemon. So if you're a Tyranitar fan, you have to buy Pokemon Shield. Well, I mean, you don't have to. You just find someone to trade you fucking Tyranitar in it or Larvitar or whatever. But you won't be able to catch it otherwise. And considering it's a new game, don't care. Give me the new Pokemon. I want the new Pokemon. I don't care about. I've caught Larvitar before. I caught Larvitar about 10 years ago.
I really like this ghost gym leader.
The creepy ghost gym leader.
Oh, looks cool.
Like something out of a fucking anime.
Yeah, I like it.
Shit. I don't know. Which one was that? Hold on. I forgot what I just even said. Alistair. Right, Alistair, ghost type gym leader. I'd go for B. I don't want this creepy fucking. And hold on. And the way they're on the picture, you do have to get Shield then. Ghost person Shield, I believe so. Have your ghost person.
Maybe this is all working out for the best.
Maybe it is.
Yep.
Maybe it is.
And then we can just switch, and you can play my game, and I can play your game, and it'll be all good.
Pun.
Looks like she stole one of the Shy Guys from Mario's faces.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that straight up murdered him and took her face.
Get that reference?
God, you're so dark. So dark tonight, Ashley.
She's a ghost type. It makes sense.
Okay, so I finally got my hands on Mario Maker 2. I've put a handful of hours in on some of the story level. That is one of the songs that plays within the video game or console on my Switch. I've put a couple of hours into the story mode, I guess. Well, it is story mode. Some online levels, just bumming around. And then today I started trying to make my own level, which I don't really know what my plan is at the moment other than like a brief... It's going to be water. I don't want to spoil it. Someone will steal my amazing idea. I don't know. I'm just going to make a level. Because although here's the thing. I'll talk about some of the features. When it comes to the level making stuff, I got the fucking like cool stylus thing that you got if you pre-ordered it. And whatever else that just I magically got my hands on that. And then... Magic led me to getting that, yeah. And that makes doing it pretty cool because you don't have to use the analog sticks and stuff, so it's pretty casual to sit there with the touch screen and do all these things with the stylus and stuff. And you can change between on the themes on the go. You don't have to like save and load. You don't have to pick your theme when you're loading. You could literally start making a level and then change your theme to Super Mario 2 or 3 or World or whatever the fuck as you're going along. And it's all very easy. And even though obviously in the past I've talked about with things like dreams and whatever, I'm not too interested in making stuff in that because it's so fucking complicated. I think the reason I don't mind messing around with making a level in Mario Maker is because it's simple. It's easy, you know?
I was going to say, I believe you said like, I don't want to make the levels. I just want to play the game.
Yeah. But it's just so simple that it's not confusing or stressful to mess around in a level. Now, I'm sure if you're trying to make some really groundbreaking, really complicated thing that uses lots of switches and keys and whatever else that people are doing online, then sure, it's going to take a lot of time and effort to work it all out and do what you need to do. But for me, I'm just trying to make some simple platformer thing, you just click on a box and you literally just start dragging where you want boxes. You want to put a monster there. You want to put a whatever plant, pipe, fish. Fucking, you just click on it and you click on it. Yeah, you don't have to like set key like in Dreams or like even Little Big Planet or Dreams or Little Big Planet, for example, two of the more complicated creationist games we've had over the years. It would have more complicated things where it would be like you had to have to like you'd click on an enemy and you could like associate it to a thing, so it triggered this event when it did this, and did all this, like you had to set which way it traveled, like across the map, like at what point it would stop, and like proper game making type things. And we had to mess around in Game Maker when I was in high school. It was like one of in the computering class I was in, we had to mess around with it. And I found it okay, and I enjoyed it then when we had to do it in school. But it was the same sort of thing. Like you'd be like, how do I get this thing to do this? And it'd be like, well, you have to assign a value to this so it shoots up here and does all this. And you'd have to do all the same sort of thing in Dreams and Little Big Planet. Mario Maker, it's just like you put the fucking enemy there and it's just going to move backwards and forwards and do it. You don't have to like set parameters. Everything is just kind of done. So it's just more about designing where stuff goes, and that's it's pretty easy and nice to do. The story mode is pretty cool. It's just like a combination of different levels from Mario Maker's Mario World 2, 3, World, New You, whatever the ones that are in it. It'll switch between the different sorts of things. And they're all brand new levels, and each level kind of tries to teach you a new mechanic, which I suppose they want you to be like take and then use in creating your own levels, I guess, somewhat, because it's trying to teach you like different sort of stuff. They have a difficulty rating too, so some will just be like 1 or 2 stars, and they're obviously easier. And then you'll see it'll be like, oh, this level's like rated 5 out of 5. You're like, how hard could it be? And then you free switch across the room. You're like, fuck this shit. So there's like 100 of those levels. You don't have to finish them to do anything. They're just there if you want to do them. And then obviously you've got the online stuff. The best way to find levels, I think, has been proven to be go online, go to Facebook groups or forums or something, and find a place that's set up to list all the best levels that people have in the game, because the system they've got in place at the moment, it does have like a what's popular at the moment or like what's most popular this week. But aside from like very basic things, the discovery stuff of it is about as good as Dreams. And I'm only saying that because this is a fully released game and Dreams is a game that's still in early access. And they're building their discovery tools for that game still and its user creations. So I don't think that Mario Maker gets as big as a pass considering it's a fully released thing. But in what world would we live in where I'd say, hey, Nintendo fucked up something that involves online? Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? Crazy fucking world we live in. You try and play the game. Most people would have seen videos by now. You try and play the game online in any of the 2-player co-op levels. You'll get into a level of someone and you will be moving at about 1 frame per second. That is how bad the whole online thing runs. So when it comes to the online features of the game, not good. When it comes to the discoverability of being able to find people's stuff, and rank stuff and share stuff with your friends even, or even have you can't even look at your friends list and look at what they've made. There's no way to be like, hey, imagine a world where either of you had made levels or you had this game. There's no way I could just click on your username in the game and click on the level that you just made. Doesn't exist. Fucking stupid. That doesn't make any sense to me. So hopefully they can improve on that stuff. But other than that, the rest is fucking fantastic. It's all the story mode levels are Mario. Great. It's Mario. Everyone loves Mario. Here's some more Mario for you. Here's 100 new Nintendo made Mario levels. And then all the online stuff is obviously going to be hit or miss. I've jumped into a couple levels and I've been like, this is trash. And I don't even want to finish it. But then I've played some other ones that when I did finish, I was like, this was really clever. There's another one I did today where I died like 20, 30 times before beating it. And I was like, that was kind of stressful, but at the same time, I beat it and that was well designed and good job. So it's a infinite Mario in your pocket, I feel is what it is. And I feel like this one will be way more successful than the previous one because the Switch is way more successful and popular than the Wii U was. And B, you can take this thing on the go. Those two factors alone means that you're going to have people probably keeping Mario Maker on their Switch at all points in time because it's just going to be a infinite amount of Mario content coming in and out. Oh, the other random thing that I think they should have added, and I don't know why they didn't, would have been a way to actually link up all your levels together and make some sort of like
world,
even if you couldn't add an overworld, but just like a playlist mechanism, because I saw someone, the max amount of levels you can make is 35 35. And I saw like someone online, I read this article where someone had made 35 really good levels and they're designed so the difficulty ramps up. So in their mind, you play this one first and then like get through to the end. So they've made a full-on Mario game, but they have no way within the game to share that in a way that people can play through from the like level 1 to whatever down the end here. So that's a little bit annoying. You have to literally enter the code every time for different levels and so on and so forth. So there are some things that I think they fudged a little bit when it comes to the online stuff and the creationist creationist sharing, I guess, and curation, I guess, is the thing I'm looking for here. But other than that, it's Mario. And if you like Mario, I feel like this is definitely a must buy because like there's literally no rush to beat it. I'm not like, fuck, I better hurry up and beat Mario, because it's just like I can put it down for a week and I can pick it up for an hour next week and just play an hour's worth of Mario levels. And I can come back fucking 2 weeks from now and I'll have a whole bunch of new Mario levels, and that's just going to be it. That's the game now. I can randomly just always have Mario. So cool. 7.89 out of 7. Too much water. Talking about Mario though, Ash, you've played Dr. Mario for mobile. It dropped
today,
as of recording,
I believe,
or whatever it was. Yeah,
the pre-registration thing, a notification came up on my phone.
Yeah, well, I think I saw a story last night because it came out for whatever reason randomly for the first time in a while. I think it actually came out on Apple before Android, which was usually the backwards scenario that happens to these things.
That's not true. Mario Run came out on iPhone first.
Okay, maybe Nintendo has a thing for. Maybe Nintendo has a thing for Apple then. I've downloaded it. I haven't put a single second into it. I saw a lot of bad stories about microtransactions, but enlighten us. I'll firstly explain what, because this is one of the things. I'm like, everyone knows what Dr. Mario is. Not everyone knows what Dr. Mario is. Explain what Dr. Mario is.
Dr. Mario is, I guess, sort of Tetris. No, I guess it's like a match 3 game. So there's a bunch of viruses on the board. You move capsules, which is just 2 blocks with different colors. They can be different colors or whatever. You're just trying to match 3. And then you only get a certain number of capsules. Well, for certain games, you only get a certain number of capsules to get rid of all the virus things on the board. And that's the aim of the game. They seem to have done a pretty solid job. I've only just got past the tutorial, like the first section, which acts as like a tutorial, which is like 20 levels into when it opens up and lets you do other things, but yeah, it seems fine at the moment. It is very much a mobile game. Obviously, I think people who I don't know why people wouldn't expect it to have microtransactions in it. It doesn't seem to be too predatory. You can buy diamonds, which I believe either lets you get more hearts because you can only play like 5 levels at a time without it, or you can purchase something that lets you play infinite number of levels within an hour, which is a pretty standard thing for like puzzle games across the platform. And then you can also use the coins and diamonds to get more characters. So you can get different doctors that you can play as, and then different what are they called? Assistants that give you special perks for each level and that sort of thing. So yeah, pretty fun. And then you've also got like a versus mode, which pretty much runs like does
it actually work?
Yeah, it does work. It's sort of like Puzzle Fighter, I guess, is the closest clarification I get. You match 3, you load up your bar, and then you just do some damage to the other player. And then whoever loses first loses. But yeah, it's I've only put like 2-3 hours, probably like 2 hours into it. So not a lot to go on at the moment, but it seems like a perfectly fine passive puzzle game to play on your phone. And all the doctors look cute because they're all the little Mario characters in like doctor outfits, like with the white jackets, and the Bowser's wearing like a vest and a tie. Very adorable.
My problem with the microtransactions for these sorts of games is like, it's just let me pay $10-$20, buy the game, get it over with. You know, like I know it's like I don't feel like every game actually needs microtransactions. Some games do. Some games make sense, like to have microtransactions designed as the actual thing. But for some games, I'm like, why don't you just? And they did it for what was the Run one called? Mario Run?
Mario Run.
Super Mario Run?
Creative.
Whatever it was called.
What I just said is what it was called.
Yeah, you could buy that outright.
Yeah.
This one you can't.
Well, yeah, it's hard to say because obviously it's been built with microtransactions built in. So, is there a game that they could have done without microtransactions? Yeah, but then it would be exactly like Mario, Dr. Mario, back on the Game Boy or whatever.
Well, yeah, maybe, yeah. I feel like it would have been more popular. People, I don't know. I have to give it I'll give it a try myself during the week and see how I go. But not the biggest Dr. Mario fan. It's a fucking well, I'm not the biggest match-free game fan. So I mean that's what the game is. So I would rather.
Well, it's more puzzly than that though, because you've only got a certain number of things. So
I want Dr. Robotnik.
But it does seem a bit randomized, so it's not going to be.
All right, thank you for joining us on the couch this week. Make sure you check out explosionnetwork.com for all of our shows, reviews, news articles, and much more. Rate Arca Couch on Apple Podcasts to help out the show, or simply share it on social media with your friends. You can follow Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod, and you can join our Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, Vivaladil. You can follow Ash on Twitter at AshHilby, ASHLEYHOBLEY, and you can follow Cherie on Twitter as well at Cherie CHERICORNO, and we will see you here, same time, same couch,